Welcome to Teen Up, a podcast that digs deeper into the thoughts of teenagers' minds about the wonders of the world.
If you're new here, I am your host, Isabella.
And I'm Glenn. If you're not, welcome back.
Here's a quick disclaimer. If we made any mistakes, please email us and tell us. Thank you. Today we have Jessica from the Get Your Binge On podcast. Hello, Jessica.
Hi. How are you guys today?
We're doing great. What about you?
Doing so great. Doing so good.
So why don't you introduce your podcast and tell us what you do and what it is about?
So my podcast is called Get Your Binge On. The idea stemmed from my love for television, movies, film, Hollywood, and I always have just been giving people in my life recommendations on television shows. So I wanted to have an official outlet to give those recommendations, to talk about amazing television, and not necessarily the shows that you see on the top 10 list. You know, I want to give people an insight into all the amazing television shows out there that you don't necessarily hear about. So that's kind of my tagline. And then I'll have people on to discuss the series with me. And we just talk about all our favorite moments. And it's just so fun. And so many people in my life enjoy talking about wonderful television shows. So it's just been a really great way to express how you feel about something you love. And, you know, almost everyone in the world watches TV. So it's just so fun to connect with everybody. And that's kind of about my podcast.
So you told us about what your podcast is about. But why did you start your podcast?
So I always had an interest that I thought I wanted to do like a blog or a YouTube channel, but podcasts are just so popular right now. It just kind of happened that way. I entered a giveaway with a marketing firm, the Lawson House Agency, and I didn't win, but they reached out to me. The owner, Susie, reached out to me and she was like, I'll give you a discount on a session. Let's get together and talk about what your plan is. And she motivated me. My husband motivated me. And that kind of kickstarted everything. If I was going to create a podcast, I wanted it to be legit. I wanted to have a website, a brand. She created my like logos and everything. And that made me feel more real and more motivated to put out a quality podcast, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's how it came to be. And it was awesome. It's almost been a year.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And I'm a full-time nurse. So I'm a nurse. I'm a mother baby nurse. And I never thought that was the only thing I was supposed to be, you know? So I always knew something would be out there involving that I could talk about TV and Hollywood and movies and stuff. And so this has been such a great outlet for me to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think talking about TV shows must be like really fun because I personally also really like TV shows.
Yeah.
I've also thought about like putting out vlogs too. Yeah. I like your idea.
Yeah. And if I had more time on my hands, I would eventually love to do like a blog post and then attach the episode to it, if that makes sense. But right now I'm just sort of doing everything through Instagram and Facebook, putting my posts there. So maybe eventually I'll start doing blogs on my site. But yeah, it is so much fun to get with another person who has a completely different outlook on a show, and you guys can just sit there and just talk for hours. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to this next question. What do you think your influences are so far?
So far, I think a big influence initially was seeing like the Crime Junkie podcast do so well. I don't know if you guys know that podcast. And then I think another influence is any like Vanity Fair podcast or other popular podcasts where they talk about TV shows and movies and film. Those have been big influences. And also, I look up so much to them. And then now I'm in this group and I'm amongst you guys and I'm connecting with so many other entrepreneurs slash podcasters and it's so much fun and it's so exciting to see other people that love the same thing as me. So now it's more so like connecting with you guys, connecting with the other groups and podcasts that I have met so far from all over the world. So it's been really exciting to meet so many great people. So seeing what they're doing with their podcast, it gives me excitement to try something new and to put myself out there. So yeah, that's where I've been trying to connect with you got like all these other podcasts. And thank y'all so much for reaching out to me. That was so wonderful. And it's just so nice to meet other people who have the same dreams that you do. So,
Yeah, thank you for getting back to us that fast.
oh, yes. I'm on my Get Your Binge on Instagram all day. I just love it so much. It's a hobby and it's just a love and yeah, I'm on there all the time. So I was excited.
Okay, so what is your favorite thing about making a podcast?
Um, I think the most exciting thing is that like I don't have to worry about how I look. I can just sit around and just talk into a microphone for hours. And I feel like my true self comes out
Mhm.
through those long podcasts where when I'm alone or even when I have a guest, I feel like it's just like you're sitting in a room alone and you're just capturing every thought that you're feeling. And that's been so fun. And I like it in that way because you get my whereas from a blog post, you're reading everything, you're not getting the sense in the tone in which I'm saying it. It's so fun to just be able to laugh and chat and it's so fun. I don't know, I love it.
Mhm.
That's my favorite part. And then tagging on to the last question, I love the community that I've created and the people I've met. That's another positive that I've experienced.
Yeah, I think that that's a great thing to like about podcasting, right? You don't have to worry about how you look or anything, and you just keep talking and talking, and no one's gonna stop you.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel like I get a little bit winded and I talk too much, um, which is nice because then you can just cut that out. But I feel like you just get a real feel for the people and you get to know us so much better because you get to just, it's like with me listening to another podcast, I feel like I know those hosts very well. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
It's like you
Mhm.
get to know those people, you're listening to them in your car. It just feels so personal. And I like that. I like that part of it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Now that we've talked about your favorite thing about making a podcast, what are some difficulties that you have gone through while doing the podcast?
I think the biggest difficulty for me, I what I thought I was very good at technology, and I've learned that I'm not actually the best at technology. So the learning curve of figuring out the best recording platforms and making sure I sound, but the sound quality is good, that I'm keeping people engaged and I'm not rambling too much. And another big thing for me in the learning curve has been looking at other people's loves and likes in television. So I've been trying to widen my palette and watch things that I've never thought I would
Mhm,
watch. So I'm trying to adapt to what other people like. So those are the things I've encountered so far. I do have someone who edits my podcast for me because I still don't
mhm,
understand it. So I need to get better at that over the next year. But those are the difficulties I've ran into so far.
Mhm. Mhm. I would definitely say that these technologies are not easy to learn.
Yes.
So now that we talk a lot about the podcast, tell us more about you. What do you do? What are your interests or basically anything?
Yeah, so I'm married to my husband. We've been almost married for 6 years. We have a 2.5-year-old son. So I'm obviously first and foremost a wife and mother, which is awesome. I've been a nurse for almost 6 years as well. So I work on a mother baby postpartum unit, which is basically I get to take care of babies and moms right after their delivery. So that is so rewarding. It's so wonderful. I hobbies, I love live music. That is my thing. It other than TV and film and Hollywood. I love going to music festivals. I'm going to Bonnaroo in a couple weeks. I love like we're going to so many shows this year. We're big travelers. My husband travels a lot for work, so we get perks and stuff. So we go to Boston, we go to New York. I love going to Broadway shows. Um, and then things I like to do around, at home. I love to go on walks and I'm not like a big hiker, outdoorsy person, but my son loves being outside. So I'm adjusting to life and doing those things for him. I have two corgis, which I'm obsessed with. They're awesome. So we're always doing things with them, taking them to the park, walking around. But I think if you asked a friend what are things about Jessica, those are the top things like music, TV, fam, corgis. But yeah, I spend so much of my time with them and then watching TV and that's and music and that's what I love and traveling. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super great. You sound like you have a your life is really well put together and like you have everything together. Just a side question, like why did you become a nurse?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, I was in high school and it was like intro if you thought you would be in healthcare, you got to be in those classes. And I did that in high school. And I always just had this nurturing attribute that I felt like I wanted to help people.
Mhm.
And then once I got through nursing and I did my clinicals and stuff, I was like, I want to work with babies, but I don't want to work with sick babies. So I don't work in the
Mhm.
NICU. That is not my thing. It stresses me out. So I really just I think I've just known since probably I was 14,
Mhm.
15 that I wanted to do nursing. And then I'm working on my master's right
Oh,
now.
wow.
Literally, my life is crazy. My life is crazy. I do too
Yeah.
much. But I'm doing it part time, obviously, with my family and working. So I hope to have my MSN by next year. And it actually is in informatics. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like the technology charting side of nursing. Cause I would love to one day like work in an office and just work a 9 to 5.
Mhm.
The 12-hour shifts are a little long, but yeah, I think I always as at a very young age knew I wanted to do nursing. So, yeah.
Mhm.
I loved your comment that my life is put together, but man, sometimes I feel like my life is just a wild mess.
Mhm.
And I definitely do too many things.
Mhm.
I agree to too many things. I put too much on my plate, which I'm sure everyone does, but I guess I wouldn't change anything.
Mhm.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I like that. Even though it's messy, you still like it,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so blessed and we're so lucky we have a great home and have a great life, so we're pretty blessed for sure.
I was just looking at the lineup for the music festival you're going. It looks amazing.
There's a lot of really good people. 2020 and 2021, the lineups were a little better, and then both like COVID happened, and then it got canceled last year because of weather. And this year's is a little bit not as impressive, but we're so excited. Like this will be my sixth Bonnaroo, so I'm a huge Bonnaroo fan. I love going there and camping and just living the life for 6 days with live music. So, but yeah, Stevie Nicks is going to be there. Um, Lainey, there's the War on Drugs. There's so many great people. Disclosure, it's going to be awesome. I'm pumped.
Oh, Lainey's gonna be there?
Yeah, Lainey's going to be there, and I've seen Lainey. This will be like my fourth time. I'm such a groupie, y'all. If I love a band, I follow them everywhere. It's a problem. But yeah, Lainey's going to be there. I'm super excited for them.
No, no, they're amazing.
I know. They're so good. Big fan. Huge fan.
So what are some of your plans for the future, like for the podcast or yourself?
Yes. So everyone asked me that question, and when I first started this, it was all, I just want to do something and make an impact and share good TV shows with people and have conversations. But I would obviously love to monetize this podcast. I'm still learning how to do that and the best avenues, working on getting more followers and reaching out to new audiences and um, bringing people to the podcast, and hopefully they fall in love with it. I think podcasts need a couple years to grow because I think people have to like get to know you and get to know what you're about. And so over the next, let's say 3 years, I would love to have a substantial fan base and people who come back every week and listen to my podcasts. And I would love to have bigger companies. Right now, I just have friends of mine who have small businesses, or I've reached out to some businesses on social media. But I would love to have bigger businesses that want me to represent their brands. That would be fantastic. I would love to turn this into a monetizing enough podcast that I could be like a PRN nurse and work occasionally,
Mhm.
That would be the dream. And I mean, obviously, I would love to like one day interview cast members
Mhm.
from shows. I mean, I would literally
Mm-hmm.
just die. I just really don't know. If that ever happens to me, you guys, y'all would know me when I was at this level. I mean, I that would just be fantastic, and obviously that would be the mega dream.
Mhm.
And like do you guys know Tanya Rad? She's like an e-news correspondent, but she also does like radio, and she's so cute and hip and funny. But she gets to interview all these famous people and stuff. Like, but she's so nice and so sweet, and I think she has a podcast too. But yeah, that would be the ultimate dream, to get to interview the people that I look up to and the people that I watch their material and their shows, and I love them so much. So that would be epic. That would just be epic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I hope next year I really grow a lot more and reach out to a lot more and have more followers and everything. And then maybe by like year 3, I'll be like coasting. I'll be coasting, doing well. That would be great.
Okay, so sounds like your podcast is gonna like be on in this community for a long time.
Oh yeah. No, I'm never stopping. Never stopping. I'll be doing this as long as I can
Mhm.
because I know that I'll never stop watching television.
Mhm.
And that's what I love so much about Instagram, and I can post things that I loved, and then I have people messaging me and they're like, "I love that show too," or whatever. It just makes me so happy to have that community. And so even if I don't ever monetize and it's just solely for fun, I'm blessed, and I've met so many great people, and it's not going anywhere. Yeah. I'll keep it up forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a podcast is truly a great way to meet a lot of new people. Like we've met some great people too, like you as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this is a great part of having a podcast.
We're so lucky. And even, we all do have so many different hobbies, and we're not the same kinds of people. We all are from different backgrounds, and then we all still get along, and it's so awesome. It's so great.
Okay, so now that we've talked more about podcasts, what about for yourself? Is there anything that,
Like what would I like in the future for myself?
yeah.
Um, in the future I see um another kid coming in a little while.
Hmm.
Um I'd love to finally obtain my MSN. That would be huge. And yeah, I mean, I think just uh, starting this podcast was so big because I didn't really have faith in myself,
Hmm.
and I didn't think that it would actually be anything worth listening to. So I think just bettering myself and the quality of what I put out content wise and podcast episode wise, just keeping myself centered and like shooting for better things. That's all I can ask for. And I hope that people continue to love what I do in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah. So are there any other side projects that you're working on now?
No. But nothing. No, I'm not. I'm in this group, and I'll see about getting you guys added to that group. But it's like a bunch of podcasts, and a lot of the people are like, "Hey, send me a clip of your podcast and what you do, and I'll add it to my podcast, like as a
Mm-hmm.
commercial." And so I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me get my name out there." So I think I need to work on doing more of that
Mm-hmm.
networking. If that makes sense. But I'm not currently working on anything other than I'm reaching out. I'm reaching out to, like, before I've done the show Outlander, I reached out to an Instagram account that has a lot of followers, and we did an episode together. So I'm working on doing that for Peaky Blinders, and hoping she'll join me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, my ambition, I need to work on, like, reaching out to other people and getting new co-hosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not currently working on any other side projects. No.
Well, I think you're already working on quite a lot of things, not just the podcast, a lot of things.
Right. Like, I would consider my job as a nurse as my side hustle, you know? 'Cause I do that 2 days a week, so it's like, yeah, that's keeps me occupied for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that brings an end to our interview today. It's great having you on our podcast.
this was so awesome. I love that you guys are doing this and getting, to know each other, and also, like, bringing awareness to other podcasts. That's awesome. I love it so much. And if you guys ever want to talk about any show, whatever show you like, just let me know, and you guys can join me, and we'll do a spoiler episode and we'll talk about it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that is it for today. Thank you for coming on to our podcast, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much for having me. It was so great. So great to meet y'all in person.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
We will upload a new episode every Thursday.
Remember to like, follow, and share our podcasts with your friends and family. You could also share your idea and thoughts with us on our Instagram at teenup.podcast.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel. Thank you and bye.